Texas is a state so vast it feels beyond imagination, a place where progress often leaves quiet cracks behind. Between productive oil fields and brightly lit metropolises, there are silent points that once pulsed with overflowing human ambition. These towns are not just collections of old buildings, they are monuments to economic failure, natural disaster, and the unavoidable shifting of transportation routes. From mining ruins near the Mexican border to port towns swept away by Gulf storms, we will trace 15 places now inhabited only by wind and the remains of memory. Once again, this is not just about what was lost, but about the stories still left behind on land that has now been forgotten. Our journey begins in the dry far west, where history is written across old rocks burning under the desert sun. Terlingua, located in Brewster County, is not just an ordinary ghost town. It is an icon of the Big Bend region. If you drive south through Texas, the sight of crumbling stone houses blending into the earth-toned landscape will greet you. In the early 20th century, this place was the largest mercury mining center in the United States through Howard Perry's Chisos Mining Company. But after World War II, demand for mercury dropped sharply, causing thousands of workers to leave almost overnight. What makes Terlingua unique today is its cultural rebirth. Even though St. Agnes Church and its old cemetery remain quiet, a community of artists and the annual Chili Cook-Off Festival have given it new life. The visuals are striking, marked by the contrast between the poverty of the old mining era and the eccentric style of modern life. Leaving behind the dryness of Big Bend, we head north toward a border town that stands as a silent witness to the glory days of America's most legendary highway. Sitting right on the line between Texas and New Mexico, Glenrio remains a perfect time capsule from the golden age of Route 66. This town was once a required stop for interstate travelers who needed gas or simply wanted to rest at the first/last motel in Texas. Sadly, that glory came to a tragic end in the 1970s when Interstate 40 was built along a different route, leaving Glenrio isolated from the main flow of traffic. Today, rows of slowly collapsing Art Deco buildings, a rusting Texaco gas station, and fading motel signs create a heavy sense of nostalgia. Even though it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the silence along its cracked asphalt streets shows how quickly technological progress can kill a town. But if Glenrio died because of transportation policy, this town was erased from the map by the uncontrollable force of nature. Yes, Indianola, located on the shore of Matagorda Bay, is the clearest reminder of how fragile human ambition can be in the face of nature. In the mid-1800s, it was the second busiest port in Texas, serving as a main gateway for thousands of German immigrants arriving in America. But its strategic position also became its curse. The devastating storm of 1875 destroyed most of the town, and a second storm in 1886 completely washed away what was left. Today, almost no buildings remain standing. Visitors will find only concrete foundations worn down by seawater, broken pier remains, and a bronze statue of the French explorer La Salle. Moving away from the wet coastline, we head into inland Texas, where water became a prison for an entire settlement. Old Bluffton in Indianola County has a unique story as a town that was deliberately sacrificed for development. In 1937, when Buchanan Dam was completed, the whole town site was intentionally flooded to create a massive reservoir. For decades, the remains of a general store, a cotton gin, and an old hotel sat beneath the water. But something remarkable happens when Texas is hit by extreme drought. The lake recedes and reveals concrete ruins frozen in time. Historians often use these rare moments to map out the layout of the long-lost town. It creates a surreal experience, seeing structures that are usually underwater suddenly reappear like ghosts from the bottom of a dry, cracked lake. Meanwhile, in another part of North Texas, there is a sacred landform that stands as a silent witness to the collapse of a farming center. Hidden in Hardeman County, Medicine Mound takes its name from 4 earthen mounds that were considered sacred by the Comanche as places of healing. The town that rose beneath the shadow of these hills once grew quickly as a cotton processing center in the early 1900s. But a series of major fires in the 1930s, along with the Great Depression, destroyed its economic base. The most haunting sight here is the remains of the Hicks-Pritchett building, standing alone in the middle of wide grassland, with red brick walls beginning to crumble. Reaching the site means traveling along quiet dirt roads, which adds to the feeling of total isolation. Its condition today is truly silent, leaving behind only the skeleton of a building staring blankly toward the mounds that are still seen as mystical by local residents. From those quiet grasslands, we come to Shafter, widely known as the Silver City of Texas. This ghost town sits along Highway 67 on the slopes of the Chinati Mountains. It was born from the discovery of rich silver ore in 1882, which drew thousands of miners to settle in this harsh region. For more than half a century, Shafter produced millions of dollars in silver before the mines were eventually closed during World War II. Although a small number of people still live in the area, most of the town's structures are roofless stone house ruins and the remains of rusting mining equipment. Shafter's look is especially appealing to filmmakers because of its dramatic setting among steep cliffs, creating an authentic Wild West atmosphere that feels intensely quiet and dusty. But Texas was not built only by miners. It was also shaped by educational visionaries, whose legacy is now beginning to fade. Yes, Independence in Washington County once had a reputation as an intellectual center, earning the nickname the Athens of Texas. This was where Baylor University was first established, before it was eventually moved to Waco because of railroad access issues. Today, all that remains of that university's former grandeur are 4 massive concrete columns, standing upright like a monument in the middle of a green field. Beyond the campus ruins, we can still find the oldest Baptist church in Texas, where Sam Houston, the hero of Texas independence, was baptized. The town is not completely empty, but its atmosphere feels like an open-air museum devoted to the past. If Independence stands as a remnant of educational glory, this town is a little different. The Grove in Coryell County is an anomaly among ghost towns because of how well preserved it is. It was once known as a cotton trading center and an important stop for stagecoaches traveling across central Texas. As the cotton industry declined and the highway bypassed it, the grove was slowly abandoned. But in the 1970s, a history collector bought most of the town's buildings and restored them into a private museum. Because of that, we can still see the original post office, a general store filled with antiques, and a saloon that looks as if its owner left only yesterday. Even though it no longer has an active economy, the Grove offers clean and detailed visuals, standing in sharp contrast to other ghost towns that were usually destroyed by weather and vandalism. Unfortunately, not every town was fortunate enough to be preserved. Some had to give in to the harsh competition of railroad routes. Belle Plain in Callahan County was one of them. It stands as one of the most tragic examples of a town that lost. In the late 1870s, it was the most advanced settlement in its area, with its own newspaper, a bank, and the respected Belle Plain College. Its collapse began when the Texas and Pacific Railroad chose to build a station in the neighboring town of Baird. Almost overnight, Belle Plain residents took apart their wooden houses, loaded them onto wagons, and moved closer to the railroad tracks. Today, the remains of the college survive only as ruined stone walls rising in the middle of private ranch land. Mesquite trees now grow inside what were once classrooms, creating a deeply melancholic image of a town abandoned in favor of the speed of transportation. Continuing into the Trans-Pecos Desert, we come to a town called Lobo. Located in Culberson County, this ghost town is one that can literally be bought. It grew as a water stop for steam trains and as a desert farming center because of its abundant groundwater in the early 1900s. But by the 1960s, the cost of electricity needed to pump water from deep wells became too expensive, making farming no longer economically profitable. The last residents left Lobo in 1991, turning it into a completely empty town. Today, Lobo is often bought and sold by private investors who imagine turning it into an art center or a film location. Its weathered wooden buildings under the desert sun create an extremely quiet image, as if time stopped moving here 3 decades ago. Not far from there, the same railroad line left behind a grand school building that now stands without students. Yes, Toyah in Reeves County has a history as one of the oldest settlements in West Texas. In its peak years, the town was a vital operating center for the Texas and Pacific Railroad, complete with a large hotel and a busy business district. But as train engines became more modern and no longer needed water stops as often as before, Toyah began to lose its relevance. The most striking visual in Toyah today is its large abandoned 2-story brick school building. Its broken windows and empty hallways create a deeply eerie atmosphere, especially at sunset. Even though a few homes are still occupied, Toyah as a whole feels like the shell of an industrial era that passed long ago. While Toyah seems to mourn through the ruin of its school, a town in Orion County is remembered through the grandeur of its courthouse. Sherwood is an architectural paradox in the middle of silence. Historical records show that it was once the county seat until that title was taken by the town of Mertzen in the 1930s. What keeps Sherwood relevant today is the Sherwood Courthouse, built in 1886. This Second Empire-style courthouse is remarkably beautiful. with intricate brickwork and elegant detail. Yet it stands in a town that has almost no other human activity. There are no traffic lights, no active stores, only rows of streets now covered by wild grass. Leaving behind neat stone structures, Aldridge, hidden deep in Angelina National Forest, offers a very different image from the typical Texas ghost town. This is not about weathered wooden buildings, but about the force of massive concrete. In the early 1900s, Aldridge was a major lumber milling center. Its owners built the mill from thick concrete to reduce the fire risk that often plagued the timber industry. When the timber ran out and the mill closed, those concrete buildings remained standing against time. Today, those giant walls are covered by creeping roots and colorful graffiti, creating a powerful post-apocalyptic feeling. Reaching this place requires a trip through the forest, but the sight of these industrial ruins in the middle of the wild is stunning for anyone who manages to find them. In contrast to the concrete endurance of Aldridge, new Birmingham in Cherokee County tells the story of grand ambition destroyed by legal and economic trouble. Today, nature has completely taken over New Birmingham. Almost no buildings remain except piles of brick buried in the ground and foundations hidden behind thorny brush. In the late 1880s, investors dreamed of turning it into a world center of iron production because of the area's rich iron ore deposits. Thousands of people came. Electric streetlights, which were a luxury at the time, were installed on every corner, and the Grand Southern Hotel was built to welcome the elite. But complicated land ownership laws and the global collapse of iron prices brought the investment to a complete stop. As the closing stop, there is a town called Helena. It was known by a chilling nickname, the outlaw capital of Texas. In the mid-1800s, this town was both prosperous and brutally rough along the Oxcart Trail. But local legend says Helena's downfall came from the curse of a wealthy rancher named Colonel Butler. After his son was killed in a duel at a bar in Helena, Butler swore he would kill the town by diverting the San Antonio and Aransas Pass Railroad so it would not pass through it. That vow proved devastating. Without the railroad, Helena's economy died completely. Today, the old courthouse, now turned into a museum, stands as the last silent witness to a town that was once considered the most dangerous place in Texas. The atmosphere here is deeply quiet, as if the land itself has grown tired of its violent past. Texas has a unique way of preserving its history through silence. This journey through 15 locations proves that a settlement is only a fragile collection of structures without economic support and connectivity. From Terlingua, revived through art, to Indianola, lost to the storm, each town offers a lesson in human resilience and human vulnerability. In the end, exploring ghost towns is not just about looking at ruins, but about reflecting on how we build civilization today. Behind cracked walls and dusty roads, the dignity of those who once struggled on this wild land still remains. As long as we continue telling their stories, these towns will never truly die.